May I have your attention, please? I think we're ready to start. How are you guys doing tonight? Nice. That's pretty loud for an introvert crowd. I don't know about that. Are you guys ready to party quietly? Cool. Welcome, everybody, to the Introvert Unparty, the official book launch of The Secret Lives of Introverts by Jennifer Granneman, who is right over here. My name is Andre. I'll be your MC for the night. When I first suggested this party to Jen, she thought it was a great idea until she found out she would have to leave the house. and speak in front of other people. Yeah. But she boldly agreed to come here and do this tonight. So I think we've got a fun program lined up for you guys. First off, I just want to start with a few thank yous. First off, a big thank you to Bad Weather Brewing. Great beer, local place. If you haven't grabbed a beer yet, please do, because it is delicious. Also, if you notice the beautiful signs around the venue, those were designed by Kelly Geiger. She also does website imagery, signage for events, marketing design, photo books, and more. If you need any of those things for your own life, you can contact her at graphicsbygeiger@gmail.com. That's Geiger, G-E-I-G-E-R, so graphicsbygeiger@gmail.com. And also, I'd like to say a big thank you to Common Good Books, who are right over here in the corner providing amazing books for us. Also a local institution. We looked at many local bookstores. They are by far and away the ones who blew our minds. They've been nothing but amazing getting this event put together with us. So if you haven't grabbed a copy of the book yet, please do purchase one in the corner over there. And if you didn't get yours signed yet, Jen will be doing a little bit more signing after this little live entertainment portion. So with that, I'd like to get started. So for those of you who are involved at all in the introvert community, you know that it's a very tight-knit community, and we like to help each other out. And so we wanted to spotlight another introvert author as well tonight besides Jen. And so our first show, our first act, it's a three-act show. Our first act is by a local author who does amazing things in the introvert world. She's the author of The Quiet Rise of Introverts, which will be coming out this fall. She's a life coach for introverts and a blogger at brendaKnowles.com. Her book is a guide to help tender-hearted and introverted individuals grow and nurture their peace, their purpose, and relationships. It will be out in fall of 2017. It's available now for pre-order on Amazon. So take it away, Brenda Knowles.
Oh, hi. I'm so glad you guys are my audience, because if I turn beet red or I kind of get that deer in the headlights look, you guys will be all compassionate and cool with that. So, as Andre said, I'm Brenda Knowles, and I live in the burbs here outside of Minneapolis. I'm a personal coach. I do relationship and individual coaching. I'm also a writer, my book as he's mentioned, and I'm a mother of 3 teenagers. And just 5 minutes ago, before I came up here, my daughter texted me and asked if she could call me. My extroverted daughter, who's like, hey, Mom, you want to talk? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I told her I had an event tonight, but I'll be calling her on the way home. So my life is very full, busy, fragmented, crazy, especially in the summer. And it's part of the reason why I wrote this book. I just got the proof this week. So here it is, and there's a little better view of it. But when I opened the box at home, when I got this proof, my son, who's 17, read the title, and he said, "The Quiet Rise of Introverts. It sounds like you're staging a military coup." No. But my favorite words actually in the title are quiet rise, because a big point of the book for me is rising personally and within relationships, and building our own strength and our resilience as we do that. So that's kind of the big part. I wrote it for everyone who kind of struggles with reconciling their internal world with their external world, or anyone who doesn't rest easy when there's conflict in the relationship, or who gets anxious, kind of dealing with our competitive and noisy world. So it's for you. My story is woven within the content of this book, and I'm going to read from the book tonight just a little bit, and I'm going to read it chronologically, so you'll kind of hear a little bit about my beginnings and then where I end up in the end. So for now, I'm just going to start reading. I'm going to show you the kind of table of contents so you can see how this is laid out. So there are 3 sections, or 4 sections, and 8 practices. And at the end of each section, there are actual action steps, because actually, as an introvert myself and a kind of sensitive person, I know the hardest part for me is actually taking action and doing something. I can think and collect data all day and research and read, and I love to do that, but to actually go out and use it and implement it is a tough part. So I include action steps in the book just to help. So this is in the dependent section of the book. I personally had a wonderful balance of quiet country living and active social experiences. At home, in our small farmhouse, there was an absence of hustle and bustle. There was a cat or two stretched out on the porch, breezes rustling through the leaves of walnut and pear trees, little to no traffic on our dirt road, comforting aromas coming from the oven, and glorious solitude in my upstairs corner bedroom. So this is about when I was a child. When in town or at school activities, I could be found hanging out in the basement of my friends' homes, watching movies, sharing stories, or playing cards with anywhere from 1 to 15 people. As teens, my friends and I spent a lot of time cruising in our cars looking for, and often finding, boys and parties. There were school functions like dances and football games, too. I was never a big fan of group sleepovers, but I endured and even enjoyed them, knowing I'd be home in my own peaceful bedroom the next night. But even in the idyllic atmosphere, I was fed a steady diet of television shows and movies that presented city living and brash lifestyles as the way to go. I thought all of the possibilities and fulfilling careers would be found in bigger, more alive cities. Surely the people in the city were more interesting, intellectual, and exciting. My sleepy little town could not keep me. By the time I graduated from high school, I was convinced my small community was holding me back. There was another factor motivating me to move out of my hometown. Although I did not feel competition among my classmates, friends, or coworkers, I did feel significant competition and inferiority at home. My mom, dad, and sister were all extroverts. Although I'm sure my parents' outgoing personalities subconsciously affected my view of my nature, it was my younger sister's strong and vocal personality and others' responses to it that most influenced my self-perception. Namely, that it was better to be a boisterous, center of attention type than a quiet, sensitive, remain on the sidelines type. My sister garnered the enviable and fun nicknames of Imp, Character, and Pistol. I'll show you a picture of my sister. So here's me, and here's my fun, impish sister. Everybody, noticed. I was Pinky, that was my nickname, and her nickname was Lucy. So even though it's not her name. Anyway, it was interesting growing up together. It was hard not to notice my sister. It was also hard to get noticed when around her. As a tender-hearted, read in her room, play with dolls kind of child, I had to really stretch myself to stand out. So that's my beginnings with family. And then I moved on, kind of moved out into the world, went to college, moved to Chicago and worked, and I kind of figured out some things about the world. And this section is titled Fitting In But Losing Out. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung spent the first 9 years of his life as an only child. He lived primarily in his imagination and blissfully engaged in hours of solitary play. When he started school, he found he could not remain connected with his beloved inner world. In order to fit in, he adapted to his new school companions, and in doing so, he felt that he lost an important part of himself. Many introverts can relate to Jung's story. In order to fit in, we abandon the sweet sense of home found in our thoughts and feelings and move along with the current of our culture and social circles. Often this means making ourselves into something we're not, including rowdy playmates, perpetually industrious parents, and vapid talkers. Sometimes. I'm not putting down extroverts, and this book is not at all about turning yourself into an extrovert, but I'm not going to read all of this. Because our inner world is often so neglected, and the inner world is our happy place, the introvert suffers sometimes. It's difficult to go against the current without the electricity of our inner world to energize us. One challenge of waking up and escaping the lull, I'm going to jump to this. In The Road to Character, author David Brooks says that all the people of great character, including such notables as Dwight D. Eisenhower, George Marshall, and Viktor Frankl, had one pattern in common. They all had to go down to go up. When they were in a crucible moment, they suddenly had a greater ability to see their own nature. They had to humble themselves in self-awareness if they had any hope of rising up transformed. Brooks states that in the valley of humility, they learned to be quiet the self, and only in quieting the self could they see the world clearly. And I feel like that's what we do a lot as introverts. We're reflective. We think about what we want to be, who we want to be, but we don't get a chance to always do that. And throughout the book, I kind of help you do that, especially as an individual, but then more in the second to third of the book, I talk about being in a relationship and how you can maintain your own nature, but have the interdependence and security of being in a relationship as well. Because one of the most, I'd say, surprising, but also important things that I learned as I was doing research for this book is that we not only have to have self-awareness and self-appreciation, but we also need to learn how to be in relationships and how actually energizing relationships can be if we find supportive, secure partners or friends, co-workers even, and family if we can find that within our families. So I'll read kind of the last little bit here and then I'll be done. Be off the stage. Okay. So this last section is titled Being Well-Resourced. Balance and contentment come when we feel well-resourced. We are well-resourced if we feel supported in our relationships and we get enough time for restorative inner work. If we diminish uncertainty within a relationship, we reduce the amount of energy we spend obsessing and worrying about its viability. Security frees up resources. With replenished energy, we can focus on personal development and relationship support. No one grows or learns well in a hostile, depleting environment. Always auditioning or waiting for the relationship to end exhausts us. Consistent reassurance from both partners toward each other fills us up. Knowing there will be conflict, flaws, and past baggage, but having an attitude of we'll work through everything together allows us to relax. Accepting each other as we are is a huge energy boost. That's that. And if you have any questions, you can ask now or more maybe comfortably in private, because I'll be here walking around, afterwards. So thank you for listening.